Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. So, hello everyone. Today is April 23rd, and today is our Vinaya class. And last week, please please mute your microphone if you are not speaking. So last week we have studied about the introduction of the Vinaya Pitaka, and today we will go to the session 2, the structure of the Vinaya Pitaka. I would like to share the slides for you so that it's easy for you to follow. So now, excuse. So the structure of the Vinaya Pitaka is 3 parts. The first part is Sutta Vibhanga, or we can say that the analysis of the suttas or the runes. And this part is divided into Bhikkhu Vibhanga and Bhikkhuni Vibhanga. The second part is Kantaka, or the chapters, and also divided into 2 parts, Mahavagga, the greater chapters, and Chulavagga, the minor chapter. The third part is Parivara, or the compendium. Now we will go to in detail of each part. Sutta Vibhanga. So literally it means analysis of the sutta. But sutta here does not refer to the discourses like in the Sutta Pitaka, but rather it refers to the Patimokkha runes as a complete set. The Sutta Vibhanga is divided into 2 parts, the 227 runes for the monks in the Bhikkhu Vibhanga, and the 311 runes for the nuns in the Bhikkhuni Vibhanga. The majority of runes are the same for the 2 orders, but 130 runes are specific to the nuns and 46 specific to the monks. So the structure of the Sutta Vibhanga is like this. First of all, we have the origin story. It relates to the incident that led the Buddha to lay down a particular rule. Then we go to then there is the rule formulation. Following the origin story is the actual rule. In a number of cases, the original rule is later amended by the Buddha, sometimes several times before it reaches its final form. Then there is the analysis. After the word commentary, many rules are further analyzed as to their applicability given a number of general scenarios. And we also have the non-offense clause, which sets out important exemptions for its rule. The non-offense clause is sometimes followed by a set of case studies. So if you already read the Sutta Vibhanga, you can see that every rule also, there is the story. For example, the first rule relates to Bhikkhuni Sundari Nanda, who committed the sexual intercourse with a man, and then it led to the Buddha laid out the rule for the Bhikkhuni, the first rule, etc. And also there are some cases, after that, there is addition, or modification. And also sometimes there is some cases that even though they committed the wrongdoing, but if that bhikkhu or bhikkhuni is abnormal, If they are met, then they do not commit the offense. It is some kind of non-offense clause. So you can see we can have here is the diagram. So the stage 1 we call Vatu or origin event. So the context is is a narrative catalyst. For example, the Bhikkhuni Sundarinanda engaged in sexual pleasure, prompting the public criticism of the renunciant life. Then stage 2, we call Sikkhapada, legal formulation. Then the Buddha will make the rule. For example, the Pali text of the first rule is Yapana Bhikkhuni me tunang dhammang patisevaya parachika hoti asangvasa. We translate the first rule is, if any bhikkhuni engage in sexual intercourse, she is defeated and no longer in communion. The stage 3 is vipanga, we call technical analysis. So we will have the context is precise legal definitions in detail. In the Vinaya, there is a definition. What is metunang dhammang, or physical union, and also establish the boundary cases and detailing conditions for a full offense. Now we come to the Kantaka. The Kantaka is a section of the Vinaya Pitaka that deals with the procedures, institutional regulations, and communal life of the Sangha. The Kantaka is also divided into 2 major parts. One is Mahavagga, Great Division, or Great Chapter. It covers the Buddha's awakening and early Sangha. You can see that if we would like to read the Buddha's life from his enlightenment until he passed away, we can read the Vinaya. The biography of the Buddha can be found in the Vinaya. And how he founded the Sangha, etc. Then the Mahavagga also described the ordination procedures, for example, for Papacha and for Upasampada. Then we also deal with the rains retreat, Vasa, and the basic monastic practices like Uposatha, Apati Desana, etc. Then Chulavagga, or lesser division, covers disciplinary procedures. For example, the Sangha Disesa process. If one committed the Sangha Disesa, what is the procedure have to be occurring from the beginning to the rehabilitation? Then also the procedure for the settlement of disputes, Atikarana, the rules for the communal acts, like it is called Sangha Kamma. And also we can read about the historical events like the first council and also the second council. The first council 3 months after the Buddha's parinibbana, and the second council 100 years after the parinibbana. It is also written there in the Chulavagga. So we can say that if Sutta Vipanga is rule by rule explanation, then Kantaka is how the Sangha operates in practice. The Sutta Vipanga tells us what the rules are, and the Kantaka shows us how the Sangha lives them. Because you see that if we read only the Sutta Vipanga, we read only the rules. But how to deal with the person who committed the rule? So it is all only written in the Kantaka. That is the continuation between the 2 texts. And the next part of the Vinaya Pitaka is the Parivara. The Parivara is the final section of the Vinaya Pitaka, serving as a systematic summary, classification. I see someone is not mute. Someone is not mute the mic. I have to mute everyone. I already asked you to mute your microphone, but some of you. Let me. I will ask the Dhamma Bhikkhuni. I will give the Bhikkhuni Dhamma as a co-host, and please mute those who are making noise. Thank you. So you see here, in the Parivara, we have the summary, the classification, and the analytical guide. So about the nature of the text of the Parivara, many authors say that it is a later composition compared to the other Vinaya sessions. And it is pedagogical and analytical in style. Why? Because it is pedagogical? Because it is designed for study, for review, and for training in the form of questions and answers. And in the side of classification, it is for training for all the students who want to master the content of the Vinaya. So the Parivara includes classification of offenses by type, question and answer formats, thematic groupings of rules, and analytical lists and summaries. Therefore, the Parivara acts as a Vinaya handbook, a training manual for students and teachers, and a tool for mastery and memorization. That is why we can say that if the Vinaya is a body of knowledge, then the Parivara is its map. We can have the comparative summary here. We have the three parts of the Vinaya, Sutta Vibhanga, Kantaka, and the Parivara. The function, how is function? Sutta Vibhanga explains the rule. Kantaka regulates the community life, and Parivara organizes and analyzes Vinaya. And in the style, Sutta Vibhanga have the narrative and analysis. Kantaka is in the procedural style. Everything is in the procedure. And Parivara is systematic. So together, these three sessions form a complete system: rules, practice, and understanding. That is why I encourage you. Now you are Bhikkhunis and Samaneris. You need to read the whole Vinaya Pitaka. And for the Indian students, I think that you can also easily find the Hindi translation online. So please read it line by line, page by page, because being a monastic, we need to know the Vinaya, so its rules, so that we can practice with understanding. And with this Vinaya class, we, the teachers, will help you to have the introduction, we have the overview of the whole Vinaya Pitaka, and also we will teach you the rule by rule in each category, so that you can understand the characteristic and the nature of the Vinaya. So we can have that Vinaya operating system is a three-part architecture. You see that here we have the three parts. The first part, Sutta Vibhanga, is explain the rule, and in the narrative, is it like a book on the narrative and technical analysis the rules here. The Kantaka is like a machine, regulates the community life, and it explains on the procedure and the institutional rules. And Parivara is it is like a system, organized and analyzes on the rules here. And it has the systematic and pedagogical style, and it works like a map. And we also have, you see this is the illustration picture for the structure of the Vinaya Pitaka. So the baskets of the discipline, you see the third Pitaka of the whole Vinaya, of the whole Pitaka. It preserves the Buddha teaching on monastic discipline and the rules for the Sangha. So the first Sutta Vibhanga, the explanation of the rules, present the rules one by one with Vatu, origin story, Sikkhapada, rule formulation, and Vibhanga analysis and explanation. The purpose is to clarify the rules and strengthen understanding through analysis. The second part, Kantaka, the section on procedures, deals with the conduct of the Sangha and the practical aspects of monastic life. The Mahavagga, the Great Division, about the Buddha's awakening, the establishment of the Sangha, about the ordination, Papacha, Upasambhada, about the rain retreat, about the basic practices. And in the Chulavagga, the lesser division, we have the disciplinary procedures, settlement of disputes, communal acts, and the first council. The purpose is to guide the Sangha in communal living, procedures, and institutional harmony. The third part, Parivara, the analytical summary, a systematic guide that organizes and classifies the Vinaya. We have the classification of offenses, question and answer formats, thematic groupings, analytical lists, and summaries. The purpose is to facilitate study, review, memorization, and mastery of the Vinaya. Yeah. Again, we have another summary. 3 sessions, 1 complete system. Sutta Vibhanga, the key question it answer is, what are the rules and why do they exist? The Kantaka, how does the Sangha live and function together? And Parivara, how are the rules organized and understood deeply? So rules, practice, and understanding together preserve the Sangha and lead to liberation. Now, after we have an overview of the Vinaya Pitaka, now we say something about Vinaya commentaries. The Sutta Vibhanga, as well as the Parivara, which although is now part of the canon, is an early commentary on the Patimokkha rules. You see, because when we say the Sutta, because it in the Vinaya Pitaka, I already mentioned these two, Sutta Vibhanga and Parivara. You see, but in nature, it is an early commentary. And beyond this, we also have the Atthakathas. Atthakatha, the literal meaning, Atta means meaning, and Katha is discussion. So Atthakatha, the discussion on meaning. And usually we translate Atthakatha as commentaries. The most important commentary on the Vinaya Pitaka is the Samanta Pasabika, composed in Sri Lanka by Buddhaghosa in the 5th century CE, based on a pre-existing commentaries that probably originated in India. Maybe you have know about Venerable Buddhaghosa. He's an Indian monk from a Brahmin caste, and he is a very well learned. Before he became a Buddhist monk, he is well learned in the three Vedas, and after becoming a monk, he has studied on the whole Tipitaka in Pali under his teachers. After that, his teachers asked him, he asked them anything else to study. The teachers said that apart from the Tipitaka, there is also Atthakatha. But now in India, it is not complete. If he would like to learn, he should go to Sri Lanka. Then he went to Sri Lanka, and there is the story about his when he came to Sri Lanka and told the venerable masters there about his intention to go to learn about the Atthakatha after he already mastered the Tipitaka. The teachers would like to test his knowledge. So they gave him only one verse of 4 lines about the Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, and asked him to write a commentary on that verse. So only to comment on the one line, one verse of 4 lines, he composed the whole book of the Visuddhimagga, the part of purification, based only on his memory of the Tipitaka. So after that, the master was so impressed by his knowledge. So they gave him on the Atthakatha available at that time. And after he read on the books, he compiled the Atthakatha of the Sutta, the Vinaya, and the Abhidhamma. So Samantapasadika is his commentary on the Vinaya Pitaka. And apart from that book, he also composed another important commentary, the Kanka Vitarani. So these two commentaries are composed by Venerable Buddhaghosa in the 5th century CE. The next layer of commentaries are the tikas, the sub-commentaries, of which there are over a dozen, including highly specialized literature, such as handbooks on monastery boundaries or simas. Tikas continue to be composed to the present day. And to navigate this vast literature, many Theravada monasteries rely on modern summaries for their practice of the Vinaya. Examples include the Vinaya Mukha in Thai and Ajahn Thanisaro's The Buddhist Monastic Code in English. And recently, Venerable Brahmali just also translated, and also his some commentaries on the Vinaya Pitaka of 6 volumes, just published last month. And I was given one copy of this whole translation of Vinaya Pitaka by Venerable Brahmali. So if any one of you from in Thailand or in India, if I think that I don't give to the individual, I should give to the monastery, to nunnery. If you nunnery need a copy, then I would like to send, or otherwise you can ask a PDF file from Venerable Dhammapali, or you can find it on the sutracentral.net. Okay, now we go to the second part of our session today. Is about the Patimokkha and the Bhikkhuni contest. First of all, we will define the term Patimokkha. So the Pali term Patimokkha is the counterpart of the Sanskrit Pratimoksha. And there are two major etymological interpretations. One is pati plus mokha. Mokha here means release or liberation. Pati means toward, against or back. So Patimokkha means that which leads toward liberation. Patimokkha, that which leads toward liberation. That is also, you see that also the meaning is similar to Vinaya. Vinaya is also that which leads to liberation. And another is interpretation, pati plus mokkha. But here mokkha means binding or obligation. We can sometimes we can have this interpretive line, that which one is bound to undertake, or a set of rules binding upon the monastic. And this one I also met with this definition in the Venerable Brahmali's book. He also said that it is the Patimokkha is a set of rules binding upon the monastics. So thus, Patimokkha is both a disciplinary code, binding framework, and a liberating training system leading toward freedom. So you see that the two meaning seems to be opposite. One is liberation and one is binding. But it is not conflict at all. Why? You can see that here in the meaning of binding, that which one is bound to undertake, it is like an anchor. It is the heavy anchor, a strict disciplinary code binding upon the monastic. It is a very heavy and with firm anchor, so that we have the very firm foundation. And when you have the good foundation, then you can also bloom. So the concept that which leads to what liberation, it is the rising balloon, a liberated training system leading to freedom. So we have the synthesis statement. The Patimokkha is the core framework recited at the Puposatha, and he or she deals restrained by the restraint of the Patimokkha. The discipline anchors the practitioner and enabling the mind's release. The anchor is the foundation, and it enables the release of the mind. And here we have the canonical description. From the Vinaya, we meet with this sentence, Patimokkha Sangvara Sangvuto Viharati. He or she dwells restrained by the restraint of the Patimokkha. Here, Patimokkha is the core code of the rules, recited regularly, and the foundation of the monastic discipline. So we can have the general definition. The Patimokkha is the core collection of training rules that governs the conduct of monastics, functioning both as a disciplinary code and as a framework for liberation. We can have here the Patimokkha. We can say it is the core of monastic discipline. And here again we repeat what is Patimokkha and the shared foundation. Both Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni Patimokkha's share the same structure and purpose: to purify conduct, to protect the Sangha, to support meditation and wisdom, and to lead toward Nibbana. Now we go to the third part, the structure of the Patimokkha. Both Bhikkhu and Bhikkhunis Patimokkha follow the same structure. First, we have Parachika, defects, Sanghadisesa, serious offenses, Nisakiya Pachitiya, Pachitiya, Patidesaniya, Sekiya, and Atikarana Samatha. So even though in Bhikkhu there are two aniyata, mean undetermined, but only two that is not available in the Bhikkhuni Patimokkha, but aniyata is not an offense. So that is why we do not put it here. So these 7 categories are similar. Then we can see that the structure is identical, but the content and the number differ. So we have here first is the numerical comparison. So for the Parachika, Bhikkhu 4, Bhikkhuni 8, Sanghadisesa, Bhikkhu 13, Bhikkhuni 17. Nisakiya Pachitiya, both have same number, 30. Pachitiya for Bhikkhu 92, Bhikkhuni 166. Patidesaniya for Bhikkhu only 4, Bhikkhuni 8. Sekiya 75, same. And Atikarana Samatha 7, same. So total 227, 311. Now we have here some comparison in some aspects. First, we see both have the same structural logic. Both systems share the same categories and the same disciplinary logic. Logic here means why these rules belong to the Sanghadisesa, why these rules belong to Parachika, why it is only Patidesaniya, the same logic. The second, we can find that there are greater detail in the Bhikkhuni Vinaya. Bhikkhuni rules are more numerous. It means that there are more rules than monks and more detailed. You can find even in the Parachika, the rules of the Bhikkhunis are more detailed than in the rules of the Bhikkhus. Then we have the dual Sangha context. The Bhikkhuni Vinaya includes the procedures involving both Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni Sangha. This creates more rules and more procedural complexity. You can see that when the Bhikkhu commit the Sanghadisesa, they have to confess only in the Bhikkhu Sangha. Or when they have the ordination, also only with the Bhikkhu Sangha. But for the Bhikkhuni, they have to be in front of the two Sangha, even in the Sanghadisesa or in the Upasampada. That is why there are more rules and more procedural complexity. We will explain why later. This is only the description. And the fourth is expanded social safeguards. Some Bhikkhunis rules address vulnerability and protect reputation of the Sangha. Address vulnerability means you see that nuns are more vulnerable than monks. In the Sanghadisesa, there is the rule that the Bhikkhuni should not cross the river or should not go among the villages alone, but Bhikkhus can. What is the reason? Because it is very dangerous for the Bhikkhunis to travel alone, especially when she crossed the river on a boat or when she went on the villages or in the forest alone. Because already happened that at some times bhikkhunis have been raped by men when they were traveling alone. And because of that, the Buddha laid down the rules that bhikkhuni are not allowed or should not travel alone. That is why these rules address vulnerability and protect the reputation of the Sangha. Because some rules, something if the men or the bhikkhu do, it is okay for the society. But if women or bhikkhunis do, then they will be objected by the society. And they will, the people will accuse, they will criticize. For example, if the bhikkhuni, they make up or they wear the lay women's costume, or they go around, they go around laughing and go to the party, etc., marrying. So people will say that why these monastics, they are still enjoying the sensual pleasures. That is why there are some rules to protect the reputation of the Sangha. And we can see that here there are 3 levels also of the comparison. First is the individual discipline. In individual, there is nothing different. Both aim at purification. Also, we aim at the same ethical foundation, because either monks or nuns, the Vinaya is only aimed at purification. Because you see that without the Patimokha, without the rules, then sometimes monks or nuns, due to lack of mindfulness, lack of control of the senses, they can do many things wrong. But with the Vinaya, with the Patimokha rules, they can be stopped. Those wrongdoing can be stopped, can be prevented, and then it can bring the purification and also can form the ethical foundation for the monks and the nuns. And the second is the institutional structure. The Bhikkhuni Sangha requires dual ordination and dual procedures. It is institutional structure. It is not individual, it is institutional. And also, the difference is because of the historical context. Bhikkhuni order established later. That is why it inherited the whole Vinaya rules that already imposed on the bhikkhus, and more rules added in response to situations. This is only the summary of the comparison of the bhikkhu and the bhikkhuni Patimokha. We can say that the bhikkhu Sangha was established earlier and simple in number, focused on foundational discipline and training. And the bhikkhuni established later. That is why, and the rules are more detailed and reflecting the dual Sangha system and additional safeguards. Then we can see that here we can have the key observation here. Bhikkhunis have 4 additional paratika, including the rules related to relationships with bhikkhus and the dual Sangha structure. And in the Sangha Disesa, Bhikkhuni rules are more detailed, addressing procedural and relational complexities. In Nisakya Pachitya, the same number, similar principles of simplicity and non-attachment. So Nisakya Pachitya, the purpose is to help us to live in simplicity. We cannot keep so many ropes and bows, and cannot keep the money, cannot keep the gold and the silver. That is why it can help to have the non-attachment. And in the Pachitya, Bhikkhuni Pachitya are more numerous, covering additional situations and safeguards. In Patidesaniya, more detailed procedures for bhikkhunis, often involving both sanghas. In the Sekhiya, we have identical. They are the rules of proper behavior, respect, and conduct. Adhikarana Samatha are also identical. These are the methods for resolving the community disputes. So we can see that the both Patimokkha have the same structure but different details. So here, the key insights, same purpose. Both aim at purification, harmony, and liberation. Same structure. Both follow the sevenfold Vinaya classification, but different elaboration. Bhikkhuni rules are more numerous due to institutional needs, but only one part. Discipline leads from restraint to freedom. So that here the insight is the difference is not in principle, but in institutional context. Both Patimokkha's guide the practitioner from discipline to liberation. And our conclusion here, in essence, the Bhikkhu and the Bhikkhuni Patimokkha's are two expressions of the same liberative training adapted to support the flourishing of the Sangha. And these are the 7 categories of the Patimokkha. From Parachika to Sangharisesa, Nisakya Pachitya, Pachitya, Patidesaniya, Sekhiya, and Adhikarana Samatha. And these are the comparison of the numbers of the runes. The black is for the bhikkhus and the yellow is for the bhikkhunis. You can see the comparison here of the number. And now the question, why do bhikkhunis have more runes than the bhikkhus? First, we start with a correct frame. We should avoid the wrong assumption that more rune means more restriction. So some people say that, oh, because bhikkhunis have more runes, they have more restriction, and then the bhikkhus have more freedom. It is a wrong assumption. Correct understanding is more rules means more detailed regulation within a more complex institutional context. Because the Bhikkhuni Sangha is later added to the Sangha, and that is why, and at the time, in the circumstance of the Indian society at that time, the Buddha has to make regulation how to harmonize between the two Sangha. Now we come to the 4 main explanation. One is the historical development. The Bhikkhu Sangha was established first. The Bhikkhuni Sangha was established later, 5 years later. When the Bhikkhu Sangha was formed, many situations has already been observed. Therefore, more rules were formulated from accumulated experience. The Bhikkhuni Vinaya begins where the Bhikkhu Vinaya had already evolved. So we inherited the whole rules already established for the monks. So the wrong assumption here is more rule, it means more restriction. Avoid framing the Bhikkhunis as inferior or inherently more restricted in spiritual capacity. Because why inferior? Some people say that because the women, the Bhikkhunis, have so many negative characteristics. That is why they done so many things wrong. That is why they have more rules. That is why they are inferior. Or their spiritual capacity is also lower than the monks. It is the wrong assumption. And here, correct understanding is more rules means more detailed regulation within a more complex institutional context. And here again, the difference in number does not reflect a difference in spiritual capacity. It reflects historical development, social context, and institutional architecture. And also, the number differs because of the dual Sangha structure, or we can say institutional complexity. Bhikkhunis must operate within the Bhikkhuni Sangha and the Bhikkhu Sangha. And we have additional procedures in the ordination, in the confession, in the rehabilitation. And this naturally creates more rules. Where there are two sanghas, there are more procedural relationships to regulate. Now we come to the social context and protection. In ancient Indian context, women renunciation faced social vulnerability, reputational risk, and safety concerns. And that is why the Vinaya response is many Bhikkhunis rules to regulate interaction with men, define boundaries clearly, and prevent suspicion. That is why these rules function not only as restraint, but as protection. And the fourth one, greater specification of existing principles. Here we have some important observation. Many Bhikkhuni rules are not new principles. They are more detailed versions of existing ones. And you see, in this part I quoted from Ajahn Brahmali, many rules for the nuns is enlarged in the large part due to the subdivision of individual monks' rules into multiple rules for the nuns. So only one rule in the monks, it will become 2 or 3 or 4 rules in the Bhikkhunis. You can see in Patidesaniya, 8 Patidesaniya, but for monks only 4. But the content is the same. In addition, the nuns have rules in their Patimokkha that the monks have in the Kantakas. You know, the Patimokkha is the first part of the book, the Sutta Vibhanga. And in the Kantaka, during the Sangha, the activity of the Sangha, the Buddha also laid down some regulations, but it is not included in the Patimokkha. So some rules for the monks only in the Kantaka, but for the nuns it put in the Patimokkha. It belongs to the 7 categories of the Patimokkha. And that is why the rules of the nuns are more than of the monks. And that is why now we have the comparison here of the 4 reasons the 4 reasons why the bhikkhunis have more rules than the monks. First of all is the time of establishment. The bhikkhu is earlier and the bhikkhuni sangha is later. And the second reason is institutional structure. The bhikkhu have only single sangha, but the bhikkhuni have dual sangha. Now we can ask why the bhikkhuni has to have dual sangha. Because at the time, at the beginning, the monks already know on the procedure, on the sangha karma. They are very well learned in the Dhamma and the Vinaya. Why the bhikkhunis are so new and less educated, less learned. That is why the Buddha imposed that the bhikkhu sangha should interfere, should in the bhikkhuni sangha karma, just to help them make it correct. That is why on the activities, most of the activities of the bhikkhuni is based on the dual sangha. Also, the rule style. In the bhikkhu, the rules are only in general, very simple, general. But in the bhikkhuni patimokkha, they are more detailed and more numerous. And also the last reason is the social context. In the bhikkhu, it is less regulated, and in the bhikkhuni is more protective. That is why we have the difference in the number. Monks only 227, but bhikkhuni 311. So again, we have the architecture of elaboration. We have here the 4 drivers of rule volume. Here only we only repeat. AJ Afinya, please mute your microphone. So this only to summarize what I have said before. And we come to the very important doctrinal point. Even though we see that there are difference of the rules for the both patimokkha, but at the level of liberation, there is no difference. We have same 4 noble truths, same 8-fold noble path, and we have the same goal of Nibbana. So the path is the same. Only the training conditions are different. And we have here one pedagogical caution. Avoid saying that bhikkhunis are more restricted or bhikkhunis are inferior. You see, there are 2 ways when the people say. One is that they praise that, oh, bhikkhunis have more rules, they are more restricted or more restrained. Or sometimes they say, oh, because they are inferior, they have to observe more rules. So instead, we should say, the Bhikkhuni Vinaya reflects a more complex training environment and therefore includes more detailed regulations. The difference in number does not reflect a difference in spiritual capacity, but a difference in historical development, social contexts, and institutional structure. And our conclusion for this session is, Vinaya is not about counting rules. It is about understanding how discipline supports liberation. So that is the end of our class today. About the structure of the Vinaya. Now is a time for discussion. If you have any questions about this, about the Vinaya Pitaka, about the commentaries, about the Patimokkha, about the difference of the two Patimokkha's, etc., please raise a question, or you can give some comments. Any questions? How to interpret some of the rules in modern context, like traveling alone? Yes, I see what Puchabi. This is a very good question. How to interpret some of the rules in the modern context? Yes. So in the ancient time, when the Buddha said that the bhikkhunis should not travel alone, because when we say alone, it is literally alone. Because no one accompany you, and you are literally alone there, and that is why it is very dangerous. But nowadays, when we live in a modern society, when we say alone, but sometimes it is a public place. For example, if we go from our temple to the airport, and then we will travel by airplane to another city. So if we have someone accompanied us from the temple to the airport, and then at the airport, already so many people there, and again on the plane, so many people there. And when we arrive at the other city, again there are some people to pick us up. So in this way, we are not traveling alone, because there are always someone there, and the environment is not dangerous, because we know that these rules are for the safeguard, for protection. And when we feel that even though it seems apparently we are traveling alone, but it is not literally alone, because we are always with someone else. And I saw here another question from Sajale Kusalachari. Venerable, please explain in English the English meaning of the 7 Pali segregation of the rules. Okay, so I think that this one I don't give it here, because I intend to explain it in etymology in next class, next session. That is why I only put it here. In I can say that I can put it here in only the Nepali name, but I remember in one picture we have the I will share it again the PowerPoint. I will show you that there is also the translation there. Here, have you seen this one? So parachika, we can say that it defeats. Why defeats? Because parachika, when someone, a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni committed the parachika, he or she is defeated by Mara, by the defilements, and he or she is no more a monastic. So it's why defeated. And Sanghadisesa is translated as serious offenses, because it needs the presence of the Sangha member of at least 20. And in the case of bhikkhunis, 20 monks, 20 bhikkhus, and 20 bhikkhunis. That is what Sanghadisesa. And Nisaggiya Pachitiya means forfeiture. It means that it is forfeiture, to be forfeited. When a monk or a nun keeps some material like ropes or bowl or money, uh, either extra or over the quality or the quantity allowed, then they have to renounce, they have to release that that things, that item, and after that they have to confess. So it is called forfeiture. Pachitiya is confession. So when we commit one of these rules, we have to confess it with a fellow monks or fellow nuns. And patidesana here is only acknowledgement. Just say that, oh, I have just commit this. Only acknowledge. Then Sekiya means training rules. We should train to walk, or to sit, or to stand, or to go for alms in a proper way. And Atikarana Samatha means dispute settlement. How to stop on the conflict, on the dispute among the Sangha. So these are the translation, English translation, and a short explanation of the 7 categories of the Patimokkha. And in the next session, I will explain more detailed from the Pali roots so that you can understand it more clearly. Again, Puchabi asked, Venerable, what about digital usage of money like cards, etc.? Again, in a modern context, as it does not involve handling money directly. So you see that nowadays, the extent to how much seriously or rigidly that a monk or a nun can observe the rules, it varies largely. Some community, like forest tradition, are very strict on the Vinaya, especially on handling the money. They never use any money, and even the credit cards. Everything is offered by the lay people or by the kapiya. So it is the ideal way. But some other community, when they do not have the kapiya to accompany them everywhere, then they can use the digital money just in case, only just in case they need anything but no one offer, then they can use that. Now you see that it is easy. Only the scan the QR code with the telephone. You have one app, so the people can put some money in that account for you. And when you need to just scan the QR code to pay in the case you don't have any copy. So I think that nowadays this is a second, it is looser. It is not so ideal, strict observation of the rules like in the first case. Absolutely no involvement in any kind of any forms of money. Okay, so now another question is from Satta Nimitta. Venerable, please kindly explain about a bhikkhuni traveling alone in a car or other transportation with a male driver, like in the taxi or Uber in today's modern context. Thank you, Venerable. So I think that this case is an issue. We shouldn't sit in a taxi or in a vehicle with an only male because it is not safe. It is dangerous. It is risky. Because we have read in when I was in New Delhi, when I was studying there, I also have read some news about some foreigners when they rent a taxi from the airport to the hotel. Then they were attacked and raped by a taxi driver. Once or twice I heard about this news. So this is not safe. That is why when I say that we can compromise that someone accompany us from the house to the airport, but it should be right companion. It should be a female, an anagarika, or a fellow samaneri or the bhikkhuni is acceptable. But if only one male driver, it is not safe and it is against the rule. Yeah, okay, huh? Any other questions? If you don't have any other questions, then we stop here. Last time, some Bhikkhuni sent a question to Venerable Thammadinna to ask about the examination. So I think that this time our course is about 3 months, and it started on April 13. Then it will end in July, right? April, May, June, July, right? About the end of July, then you will have the examinations. So we have 2 subjects, Dhamma and Vinaya. Then we will have 2 papers to do. 1 paper in Dhamma and 1 paper in Vinaya. So in the Dhamma, you have 2 teachers. Venerable Bodhicitta will teach the first part, and Venerable Santini from Indonesia will teach the second part. And each of them will give some questions concerning their part of teaching. And again, in the Vinaya class, I will be responsible for the 6 sessions in the first part in April and May. And Venerable Dhammavichani from Thailand will teach you the second part in June and July. And each of us will also give you some questions. So maybe before I finish my part, I will send you some question papers to prepare in advance. I will, and because I already sent you, after each session, I will send you the document in Word and in a PowerPoint file so that you can review. And I also send you some questions to prepare so that you will be more confident when you do the examination. And usually we only ask what we have teach here in the we teach here in the class. We will not ask anything outside. So don't worry. If you are studying regularly and seriously, I hope that you can get on the knowledge and you can easily pass your examination. And we can together go to the second part, the intermediate level. And now we would like to share the merit after this session of the learning Vinaya together. We all created a lot of marriage. We would like to share this marriage to all the devas, to all the living beings, to all the departed relatives, and to our teachers, our fellow Dhamma friends. And may the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha protect you all. May you be well, happy, and peaceful, and make progress in your Dhamma practice. Idang no nya tinang ho tu sukhita huntu nya tayo. Idang no nya tinang ho tu sukhita huntu nya tayo. Idang no nya tinang ho tu sukhita huntu nya tayo. Idang vatame punyang asavakaya Vahang hotu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. See you next week, and may you all be well, happy, and peaceful.